Okay, Anila, will you start the prayer before teaching first? Okay.
Yes.
In the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, take refuge until enlightenment is reached. Through this of listening to the Dharma and other perfections, may attain Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings. In Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, take refuge until enlightenment is reached. Through this of listening to the Dharma and other perfections, may attain Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings. Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, take refuge until enlightenment is reached. Through this of listening to the Dharma and other perfections, may attain Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings. Prostrating, offering, confessing, rejoicing. Request to turn the wheel of Dharma, request not to manifest Nirvana, dedicate the merits thus created to all sentient beings. This ground anointed with perfume, strewn with flowers, Mount Meru, 4 continents, sun and moon. Visualizing it as a Buddha field, we offer it so that all beings may enjoy this pure run. Idam Guru Rana Manakam Niyatayami. Christ, you exalted and venerable gurus who have gathered counsel, wisdom and compassion in the space of Dhammakaya in accordance with the needs of the field disciple, let the rain of the vast and profound thereby fall. Okay, Anila, over to Geshe-la.
Okay. Gela the debate goes to Naruchi something.
투모가 대초 나오는 제와데 샤부친도 나오시비게 돈조리스 단 돈조산 주리스 주조 샤부친이 나오게 림바 주리 샤라 샤부 디타 투미 나오게 나라나 잡아 하던 거기 샤부 이제 나 투미 나라 버자나 샤부 총어도 투미 나라야 와장바 보통 거기는 나도 와다 대충 하던 마성 같은 샤부 전부 장비게 나 담불이 되는 거 봐야나 아니 대주리야 생긴 상황이 좋아요. 말해서 되면 이제 이게 저한테는 원래만 내 심바인데 얘기 인소. 다 괜히 다 내가 림바 때다 TV 주탄라 니서 다 되게 가는 소요에서나 다 단다 상주 랑지人비게 다 미국 셔부 중국이 주고 셔부 진기 주고 셔부 진비기 주고 어떤 teleyani 고린 년바 어떻게 된게 Leleani, Jimba Teta Chipi Jutsenla, Jutsen Uta, and the Guba Nigasa, Otaki Ji Shuna Dadi.
As we so we are so fortunate to have this opportunity to gather here and to learn for this Buddha Dharma, and especially for the Lamrim, because we have this precious human life, and especially, and also we meet the Dharma and also our Guru and Buddha Shakyamuni. So especially, we meet with the Mahayana tradition for the perfection of Mahayana tradition of like a mantra. So this kind of occasional and very fortunate, and we have also this leisure and opportunities. So this life is so precious. In this precious life, so it is so important to set up good motivation to to study this Lamrim and to continually practice this Lamrim. So it is important to set the motivation. So I'm admiring so you all that please listen and study this Lamrim with a good motivation and also like strong effort. So as we are teaching in the Lamrim, we finish, that is like a major topic or major like a blueprint. So today is the blueprint is in the how, all the scripture is combining into the three persons practice, and then within the 3 persons practice is there's like two different categories. That's why we have to study these 3 persons, like 3 persons, the person, the least and least persons, medium persons, and great persons, the part, and also like how and the meaning of why we study these 2 persons like practice. So within this, like when we talk about the meaning of the why we study the 3 persons, but there's like one question. So they asked why we study this least person's practice and medium person's practice. We can like right situate into the great person's practice. So at that time they gave answer that because the least person's practice and medium person's practice are the prerequisite of the great person's practice. So because of that, we are practicing like least person's practice and medium person's practice. That's we done before in the before session. So today here we are talking is why. So there's like a stage, kind of like stage and least person's practice and teaching, and then medium person's practice and teaching, and then great person's practice and teaching. So today we're here. So now it's more detail about the least person's practice and the medium person's practice, and so how how to become the main course of the great person's practice. That's all, Yala.
tā te tābi tānda shabu songa lānga rīmbā ke tōne tā trīpa tēla ya te che tsonga pa chēme tā trīpi jūtsen la nī sa jūtsen tēla ya jūtsen ngā tō yūpa nī ke tā sāche nī chi nānga tā tuñsen sa kāra tā jūtsen ngā ke lāngri chēme ke te nō tānda tā chi ki chewa nānga tā tuñsen ra che guwa pa yīna tuñsen tā chūgi yo res tā tuñsen chūgi nānga tuñsen tāmbu te kāri songa res 아니 말은 저 타바친비게 강자게 나와서 나오자 조 강자 조게 상추지 세를 붙이 차별에 대인서 상추지 세를 붙이되 타바친비 나온게 아니 고나미에서 고 타바친비게 질이야 취도 무취 제사게 말은 저 고친 나오게 상추 센차야 대자 대체지 조부 예마도 어떤 대통령 때아니 라리 친지 타바친비 주기 조고네 상추지 초파 센샤바 니데 대주라 샤반 슌주네 상추 산시 전에 깨지게 거의 저라 당비 나타나 대해 나지 세게 저자기 계속 봤다 제세상 상추 선바 희비 미도 대대 태천바 출라 대나 남바나 태천비 세 셜라 탐바 주의셔도 세송아 되게 아니 가르 송여서나 태바 첨부 대 강자 인다 민사데 아니 상추지 세 줄라 대다 매den게 돈에 어다 데 라운드 톤 잡고요레스 텐데 티티게 데데가 쇼주 콘단 상추게 세드 줄 요나 아니 강자데 태바치게 강자 상추게 세드 줄에 매den아체네 테 나온소바 이나 아니 셰무투아다 야나 나온소바 담버니 내봐 야나 여장 땡년비 하고만 상추 세 나온소바 이나 아니 강자데 태바치게 강자 많이 괜찮아요레스 대인바데 아니 쇼주레 상추지 사실 전에 깨지게 거의 저라 담비 나타 아니 나라 좀 매인난다 하인난다 돈리인난다 가서 간대지 인바 있는 가서 비주려 상추게 생의 시송바 있는 그런 제이세서난다 상추 상바서난다 대히세서난다 어떤 데코라 차도요레스 상추게 생 줄 매대바 있나 아니 제부 있난다 라마 있난다 주고 있난다 어떠지 gehe yinanda, kyambo yinanda, tsen kande yoga yina, kora shangshu simbi ki ni togu mare, shangshu simbi jing tsuyo ma, taba chimbi jing tsuyo mare, so teji.
So here, so when you talk about the great persons, right? So why Chesongapa any taught these three persons path, and then there's like this question has two answers. That the answer is the main answer and also the reason. And the main answer has like 12 different answers. The first answer is that Chesongapa says why. So the why the great persons why need the least persons and medium persons practice for the prerequisite of the great person practice. For the great person practice is a main reason is the bodhicitta mind. The bodhicitta mind is the so in this Lamrim they translated that like a spirit of enlightenment. The state of spirit, the mind of spirit of enlightenment is the entrance for the great entrance for the Mahayana practice. So Mahayana practice. So why is the entrance of Mahayana practice? So the Chesongapa says this because if someone have like a spirit of enlightenment, then that person we can consider is the great person. And great person, if there's no the cultivation or like achievement of spirit of enlightenment, then this person, whatever the person is, we cannot consider is a great person or like the Mahayana traditions practitioner. So for this, the Bodhisattva way of life in the Shantideva said, if someone gain the spirit of enlightenment, at the moment, like even some beings being born in the hell realm, immediately we can give the name of Bodhisattva. Bodhisattva, but if someone don't have the spirit of enlightenment, we cannot recall or call them like a Bodhisattva. The Bodhisattva is like son of the Buddha, son of Buddha or the Bodhisattva. So So Gelas, even you have a big name like king and like queen and also like guru and tulgu and whatever the geshe, if even you have this name, but if you don't have the cultivation of the achievement of the spirit of enlightenment or bodhicitta mind, and no one can call, no one can call like the son of the Buddha, and son of the Buddha is like a bodhisattva. So that's why this is the first reason how important to generating and cultivating the spirit of enlightenment or bodhicitta mind, or sometimes people call like a great compassion. So there's the great compassion is the entrance of Mahayana tradition or Mahayana practice.
다 대답이 다 상수의 생정부 전에 타바침의 랑게 조고 타바침의 랑게 소신 타바침의 랑게 다 그런 제부다고 또 연하면다 대찬이래서 대답이 상수의 생때 다 단다 전체 담배 걸을 자체의 인가도 쇼차네 아니 전체 네바 tel려야 되니 나리 전에 대답이 상수의 생때 랑주리에 셔와라 그것도 아니 대게 상수의 생때 내가 제 가부 용체도 초아지 델리 대파도 조아도 이치 용체도니 상주의 생기 팬상고래서 여든 상고래서 어떤데 아니 되는마 내가 대체도 준대봐 나오지네 세대 터도면 베니셰글라 대샤발라는 것도 해듯이 팬유 고네 히타바니 팬라 조슈표와 시당 양라 듬바 상주도 제바 교바 상세제 랑제 림바 듬비중 초도 줘봐 거기도 쇼발란 줘발레 송소세서 나 되게 다 상주 대체도 준대봐 나오지서 타바침비기 최나네 제캔 대체 아니 지 상주그 생정부 제때 랑주리에 시 아투 무투 단데 터 도미고고네 터 도미고네 베체 도미고네 네 베체 타모찌고레스 텔라 티샤발라네 상주그 생샤발라 그것도니 상주그 생게 팬 다 상주 생게 팬 대샤다 다 동북게 빈도다니 다 테마체게다 용견도 다 균쇼지비게 놀라서바니 단다겐도 팬체세 다 여기 간주비 자탐바노 팬체게 또 주요 다 대초노래 상주게 생게 팬 자침부 시부송여레스 다 대초당 다 노hin게 다 텐션 on the shabayina teni jese chamba kyawale zebike ta shunju ta ani hotu ota tetso zigo yores tentrige shangju ge sange ayo ta yoten de yabu ji tonyo de ani sanle ya shangju ge sanle ya gayen ta tele ya deba ta de gonde ge lo shu chamba ji le mu yores ta ten za tende shangju kile yonde ani karche ge san tela kontrol ya 네 야라 dimba tetso progress 야라 dimba shangru ta cheba saade se yonde ta yala dün saade ta shatse yala satende yala dün je tanga ja ayo shatse yala choba pi yala shabi yala jese yala jese yala chobo ko ku namela menda so to dewa zoja la ko yala ta yala dün ta teni shangru te ne ha chang ki chaba yin zang ta 셔부 총을 주고 셔분지 주고 상주도 녀바 고는 되게 교발 상세절한테 림바된 비중 초도 줘라니 호티스 다 호티스한테 제세 좀 교환을 이제 쇼발은 줘봐서 제세 좀 교환을 호슈니 왔다 때려서 에서 왔다 때려
And so that's bodhicitta mind, or like spirit of enlightenment, is being for a Mahayana practitioner is like king and like a king and like like a very precious. So as is listed in the Lamrim and many scriptures. So it's like a king and it's like a very like a special jewels. So today, so the second point, before we said there's a 12. So there's the second point is we have to know the benefit of the bodhicitta mind. So the benefit of the bodhicitta mind is so it's listed in many, like it's recorded or it's listed from many scripture, and then Gela tell us all the scripture names, but here I'm sorry I don't have this in English. So and especially in the commentary in the Bodhisattva way of life, and also the Shanti Deva's Bodhisattva way of life, and then the pleasure of the, I think the Laptip internet there's like two book from the Shanti Deva is more about the talking about the Bodhisattva's practice. So from both of these also listed the benefit of the bodhicitta mind. So the benefit of the bodhicitta mind is basically talking when someone gained the bodhicitta mind is and considered is the Mahayana practitioner, and not only that, in the Bodhisattva way of life, it's recorded when someone gained the bodhicitta mind. Even it did lots of like bad things, like unvirtuous things. When they gain the Bodhisattva way, it like automatically is purifying all the negative deed. And then also like if someone is hell ram, when they generate the bodhicitta mind, it's immediately transforming into the higher birth. So those are like benefit of bodhicitta mind. And then if you guys have time, you have to study about the two books of Shanti Devas about the bodhicitta, the benefit of the bodhicitta mind. And especially like in the Laptip, it says how to because before before to generating the bodhicitta mind at the beginning, we should have to practice Olympic prayer and seven Olympic prayer, and also like refugee, and seven Olympic prayer is the protection and the offering, and then purify just and rejoicing of the others like virtues, and then praying to kind of inspiring other to do good things, and just and also like requesting to teacher to give us like teaching, and also the over dedicating all the merit you created to for the mother sentient beings. That's all.
Tā tē tabi tā shāngchū kī sēn rāmbu chēlē ya nī tēpā tāng, tēlē ya gāyēn tāng, tēlē ya chōwā yōngwā la, tēnī tēng hōndrō lē ya shabu rī tā tūmū yī gēlāng, shabu chūngā tā tūmū yī gēlāng, shāngchū tē tsū gyū yō yōba tē tē tēng yō rēs. Tā tēnī nē, tā tē wā lē ya Lam Rim Chenmo kī tēn sēn sōmbā rāba tē, tā shāngchū kī sēn lē ya tēnē sē nā rā, tēlē ya tōndē kī lō shē jī, shē wā la, tēnī pēng kāndī chō rē sē na. 다 숨비 폐 양 도나 니데 세다 폐 예가 폐 니여스 네거기 폐 지다 다 니여레스 다 담벌라 연주 못동 왔다 된지셔 니데스 어다 상추 그 생름 버첼이야 되네 제네 상추 그 생들 랑줄이야 시소나 네거리야 아니 뭐 라니 녀송 시게 말레스 니와 당나라 저 샤왈랑 차들이야 타셔 자체 자타모 다 히차들 로사 때려야 덴도 당연히 마도 요마다 매번 차요 마시로 다 된로라 아니 상천들 상주게 생로 버cel이야 대바당 비바당 대토려야 로장바이나 아니 세셔말이야 년줄 시게 말레스 아니 어느 가시에서는 덴도 차당 미기셔라고 덴도 시와 니데 센데셔나스 년지 조 가사 도만다바다스 상주게 센데리야 시시 두 텔레야 대박 마바체 강저바이나 아니 녀소를 메시 주생 가르레서나 아니 데바타요레스 상주세 강요 데바타 년디 주스 카사 도만 다바타온스 어때 아니 쇼주체마 데네 뒤티 메기 데제나 케체케니 냐바시바시스 어때데체니 디바 카 사비 디바트서 다인자 녀소도 미셔 아니 제말이야 아니 시소바는 준체바자 디바 엄발에 메사 준체르레스 어텐디게 너 뒤에 덴디게 좀 하사나 상추그 생 강요 데시 다 파타네 다 디파트서 다네 다 하다 미게 샤왕 강제 주 겨와치요 겨와토서 상추그 생기 시네 좀 하사나 상추그 생기 시용데 겨와 충초데 겨와 첨부 차르레스 자 첨부야 차르레스 상추그 생기 단다 다른 제 나도 쉐바트스 이나요 어다 대 균년 하에 세비 타면 봤어. 다 상주가 세 균년 하에 겨와 사바 주바 이나 겨와테 걸어 코트 잡에게 좀 많이 봐이나 겨와티 견제부 쳐 좋아하게 세비 타면게 자는 그래서 파투게 더 내가 주바 되지. 파투게 주바 가려서 타바도 통제 지한다 맞아. 세 델라테니 델라도 로발라스 파피게 고본 통제 챙비게 고본죠. 정주지 세르모 첸데 줄을 셰 투바이나 대 강발라 때는 또 대보다 렌하비게 토네 루투브리에서 델라도 로발라 근데 좀 대답이 상주 세 줄을 셰 또 내가 타도게 배라 통제 주바 좀 많이 매나스 대답이 상주게 세대 이 배 내가 타도게 배 전부 된대 여가 중재 배san 다 중재 야고 된대 주요 봐라 된대 중재 통되게 뉴바데 뉴바 지고서 몇바 지고서 대 전도 뭐 그랬어 좀 많이 받지 내가 아니 배다 여ken게 배다 토투ken게 있었나 중재 된다 중 투ken게 타랑 상주게 산래야 저 세트 샤발람 베바 시투고 말스 델레 뉴바다 베바 슈창 버지고스 세트 샤발람 베바 샤오케 해장 시장도 좋았어 어떤 딜리기 뉴바 슈창 버지 매바이나 상주 생강게 인사데 카기 러버 장치 차르마도 생기 띵이야 매 이거 말스 딜리 생기 띵이지 용알라 아니 델 에데 아니 지 히오요레 시난조 랑그 줄라타네 힌도셀로 텐리제 안도 문도 소소소소 따치체나 칸마르 다나 아고레스 파쇼 텔레야 지 페 야부지 두레 야부지 요바이나 텔레야 나와다 쪼와시레스 페다 여테 요바 하마거나 아니 셀레야 카글로바 자치마도 이지 쪼와시레 슈체고 요마데 데니 마라조 소소소 로카 나오르샤나니 노아게 토니 투투레스 따뜻뜻지
Okay. So that's we should have a great joy to generate or to cultivate the Bodhicitta mind or like a spirit of enlightenment. So for this, it's so important to know the benefit of Bodhicitta mind. And in Bodhicitta mind, for the benefit of listed in the Lam Rim, there's a two primary temporary benefit and ultimate benefit. The temporary the temporary benefit is this, being not fall in the lower realm and also being stopped, all the negativity, all the negativity, and the other benefit is like being to be born in the rebirth in the like a higher rebirth. So this is a true temporary benefit. So why when the bodhicitta when someone generate the bodhicitta mind, why it like stop to falling in your RAM, just low RAM? So why? So it's there's like one quoted from Bodhisattva way of life, because when someone generates the bodhicitta mind, it immediately stop, is burning all the negative karma and negative karma. So that's why if someone don't have the negative karma, the causes of the lower realm, so it's stopping, like to falling down in the lower realm. So because the bodhicitta mind, the power of the bodhicitta mind, burning the negative karma to be born in the to be born in the lower realm, and also at the same time burning the negative karma, and at the same time like when someone has like a pre accumulated the virtues to be born in the rebirth, it it maximize, it's become very great, bodhicitta mind. It's expanding this virtuous things, and then it caused to be born in the higher realm. So this is so why, because of why people will be being born in the higher realm, because the bodhicitta mind expanding or like making is great, the before created positive karma. So these two is the temporary benefit, and then the ultimate benefit is to get the liberation and the omniscient. So this is the ultimate benefit. So it's so important to remember those benefits, and then have to have to have a good joy, great joy to practice the bodhicitta mind. So because if you don't have a joy to practice the bodhicitta mind, then we cannot we cannot well. So that is we can look in ourselves, and then analyze to ourselves, we can tell, if we don't have a joy, what we are doing, if we don't have joy, we can't put that much effort to do it. So if we have a great joy, things we are going to do, we can put a lot of effort in it. So that thing, we have to create this benefit of the bodhicitta mind. Then it will we gain the joy, and then we can practice the bodhicitta mind very well. That's what you
that dancer given the Jitsunga China, don't you? Then put water than Yeleti pain in Botella, Tonde Shabala, Shabu Chundri, the Tumu Samba Jean Busso, also Sondo. That's on Chuk the San Rambuchi. Gone on let you in the tea, get tunde, double the Niako get tunde Zambuchi, Tatu get tunde, the Niako get tunde, tele, Hata me, get letters on the Tova. And the Tatu get tunde, tele, Tabata Tanchi Chambatova, Tini Rendua. There tabige or tunde Zambu, Niako the Tatu get tunde, Shawalan Huto, Ni Shabu Chumotan, Ni Tumu, Shabu Tumon, the never go, yes, or Terry. Or don't you? Carrera Nicolia, Nessun Mahoa. Ota Dendru She Pay Delia, and Nichi, shoot Chembo, which is the George, Ota Nendruk Dumheton, never yet Dendruk Dumhetoni. They tell ya Meshawala, and it Ochi Teleton, the joy, make it so they are charming, make it your bone. Ota Notal Hata Mige, Kohotu, the joke, Ota Gawachu do, or Tendichi, the Shabu Chungu, Chokode, Ota Kichabuchan, Grand Naging, or Nele Tabata Tonchamba, Niu, Tapa Tonde Mesona, Sanju Sanction, Yuntu Ramadi, the Tapa Tonde Losh, Tapa Tobala, Tapi Gay, no more Pijiba Yata, and no more Palaya get you can get, or that no more Palaki Nambo, and it under Shabu Jing, Connie, and in Matasu Chudu Teso, or that can't move your resident, or that the dinner, Sanju is hanging that. Gone on it, Chevala, but only Shabu Jinda, Shabu Chumu, Tumu, the Lorita, and put on the good after Don John, the Richard Lewis.
So for this, very beneficial digital mind. So for this, it's how important, the benefit of the bodhicitta mind. When you think about the benefit of the bodhicitta mind, so the fourth one, Cherimbuji says that because so for this we will think the weakness of the lower realm, and then the benefit of the higher realm, higher realm. So when we think about this, and
hello, Anila.
the realm and realm or the human please, can you hear?
Hello.
Can't really hear. Anila, I think maybe you repeat. Hello, Anila. Cannot hear you.
So Benny Cherimbuji says so when we know benefit of bodhicitta mind, we will try to escape from the lower realm and to gain the higher realm or human realm. And then for this we have to think about the weakness of the lower realm and then the quality of the higher realm. So to knowing the quality of higher realm, and then to knowing to try to skip from the weakness of the lower realm. So for this to knowing for this is so important to practice the least person's practice. So that's why also how the least person's practice is becoming the preliminary or prerequisite of the bodhicitta mind or great person practice, and also how the medium person's practice become the prerequisite of the great person, because for the benefit of ultimate truth. So the ultimate benefit has to liberate from the cyclic existence, from samsara, and to gain the omniscient. So the liberate from the samsara. So in terms of liberating from samsara, we have to practice the medium person's practice. In the medium person's practice, there are we have to practice the feature of the Four Noble Truths. So for the feature of the Four Noble Truths, distinct different way to meditate. So one is the meditating of impermanent, and meditating of selflessness, and meditating on that nature of the suffering. So those are practice of medium person. So those we have to gain in terms of liberating from samsara. So that's why the medium person's practice is also become repeated. Because of that, why the great person should have to practice the constant and common practice of medium persons. That's all.
Oh, that good. Got it. So you're saying that shall you be saying pay Tongres on the pay tombala, pay toy ranjulia, la shavala, or that shabu jinta tumula, shabu chumi, tumula, guba tamate. That shall you be saying when they don't be calling in a young shabu jitan tumula, shabu chum tumala, guru about the time. Getting up and date on some words. That pay nila, tondi shene, pay gombalan juba nasa, pay. Ni the tombi toni ni shangchu ji sen when ni gombi kali na ya ata shang da ka shebu ji da shebu tumu ya shebu chu tumu la gu ba de dangerous ga so we sen pen ni la to de shen ni pen ji sen gomba lan jo ba sen ti zawa ni shang ba da ni ji chang shangchu ge sen ge da ju zo de ge zawa ni ji de so ba ni shang ba da ni chen ni res de ya de da bi ni ji da shang ba da ni ji chang ba sha la ran de pom 예 랑 동해지 나치 나 이게 코와 청취의 상투 부리에서 라니 담부 대화게 포동 동해게 나타 코알레 콜루 코토데 야부치 상투바 이나 청취 상바 나서 랑 된데 상동인데 바부 여기서 매바 게 간사치 이나 텔레니 세제게 코와 청비 기체 아니 대화게 포근도 동해지 나게도 답배사서 사서 된데 메저바치 완전 요하레스 대 쇼주 대안이 콘테 제세 전부 요하레 쇼주 산체다 나라노 랑부터 된디스 멜라토야 마미나스 산체 대처게 안데다 나려야 그 랑부터 된데다 이세 멜라토야 미마테 바이나 제 산체게 제 산체려야 미네 니 샴바시 두고 말이 니지시 두고 말이 된데다 담보 라니 코알레야 콜루 코타 Rani koala koyakaleya duhen dedo ani koaleya ta de ke polu ponta de sansa tambo rangti le santo res rangti le san chai jele ni ge sanje pa san angor bato rangti le san ni chi ma ton bi kanza te ge sanje le min ni shambata ni je chen she tu ma res o te sa ti she je ti shunju de no do mela ta ma ni ge ti to ka she so ni she te she shabu chungi ko so ranga 내송 동해지 녀바 보추 나스 근데 다 셔부 충게 거서 야 녀와 예다 던르게 아니 동해지 녀바 쇼루쇼다 니 동해 아다 이다 동해 던르게 동해 아드나바 보추 야 녀기 셔분게 거서 아니 토리사데 하다 미게 셔와데 하다 미게 거서 이나야 다 멜야 샤다 나체 탈레야 다 더한게 하다 쳬보통 아니 조건 그한테서 이나요 처번 두지 조건 조네 그한테서 이나 처번 두지 두메라 마타와 안도 되나 두메 수다 두메 지에다 두메 자체세 되려 올이요 어 된리기 두메 tel야 타이게 두메 두메기 제이게 대화 메시지 저 두메 tel야 타이게 대화 tenchi dewa mepa te sole sane tonglo yores. Sane, tene ne to chubis, tene rang tole ya sane tene duhe ke nalu nata san tsai jele, tene rang tse di ke pata mata, pinche ta, ne lenjel pa sane tong. Tene ne to chubi, seche nala, yang rang ke nala, pane rang liya, sopa che ne rang liya duhe, da dewa ke ponsu duhe na chute, ya te rinje pa tong ne yen, sosu ke pinche pa sane. Tane ne gongres tene telepa chawri ze ta mara chu example indi senche tene ta nangke ta da no ge senche se tene ba chu ne shamba ta hiji shi ge ju cha gi res ta mo rang ge tol sang tong tene shangchu ge sen shi tene shangchu tene je je to ne nangke ta da no pa sang tong ba yin tene shamba ta hiji shi ju cha shamba ta hiji che ba shi ba yin tene shangchu ge sen shi tu res Tiri shabu chungo ta tumu yina, shabu jita, yina shangchu ji sen she yina, chungji ta tumu yi samba yongwa ni, shangchu ji sen choma mayiba she yi, ta wama reyes, yichi, wang loba ki ta tuba mino, so ta shabu jita tumu yina, shabu chungo ta tumu yina, te shangchu ji sen choma mayiba she yi, ju yi zu, ju wama, ta wama, yana wama, chahi wama re mato, shabu jita tumu, lang te tsu lang jamba yina, shangchu sen le jeme ge, knowledge mare ese ta shangshu ke se ke to nyepa to ro bi ke knowledge ke jinda chi ese
So as the practice of the least persons and the medium persons, it's the prerequisite of the to remembering and to knowing, to understand the benefit of the bodhicitta mind, as we taught in the true benefit of bodhicitta mind. So it prerequisite of the to understanding or to knowing this benefit of bodhicitta mind, and also it's becoming the actual or prerequisite or actual causes of actual and generating the bodhicitta mind. So this is the practice in this too is very important because it's becoming the causes of actual bodhicitta mind. So why it becoming the prerequisite or so important to actual generate the bodhicitta mind? Because the main causes of the bodhicitta mind and loving kindness and compassion. So to kind of know, we should know the suffering of ourselves, suffering of ourselves,
Anila, I think you need to repeat again. We cannot hear you.
Suffering. So can you hear now?
Here, yes, cannot.
Okay, I'm so sorry. So do I have to repeat from again? Hello?
hello
Gugutayila.
ne ko du
Hello. Can you hear, please?
Can hear. I think it's best to repeat again. Thanks.
Okay. So in the so right now we are in the fifth one. So
ta ya mogu ke chas
fifth one is benefit of bodhicitta mind. Bodhicitta mind. 그냥 와이파이 유래라고 제인데 같은. 호텔 왜 와이파이 이제 들라이. 딱 그거다지라.
ta ko du ko te te mogu cha
아니 it's a prerequisite of the benefit to understand the benefit of bodhicitta mind, and also it's a prerequisite or causes of actual bodhicitta mind, because actual main causes of actual bodhicitta mind are the compassion and great loving kindness. To have a loving kindness, and we have to think, how mother sentient beings are like suffering all this, or like powering by, suffering in this samsara. So for this, we have to think the low realm suffering and higher realm suffering. So in terms of thinking, the higher and low realm suffering, so if someone way to think other
Hello.
suffering, to kind of sympathy for other people. So, hello,
Anila just now cannot hear
can you
again.
hear?
Now can hear.
Okay. So in terms of having great kindness for others, first we have to think, we have to have mercy or empathy to ourselves. If someone don't have empathy and mercy on ourselves, there's no way to gain this kind of mercy and empathy and loving kindness for others. So that is also recorded in the Bodhisattva way of life. So the actual text there's being have yet not dream of such as the attitude towards even their own self and welfare. So how can they could that others are, that's ourself, how to free from the low. So for this we have to have the low persons, these persons practice. And also for the medium person, why the medium person's practice is becoming the actual bodhicitta mind causes, because and so when the actual person's practice is talking as the liberated from the samsara. So even in the higher realm, there is lots of suffering, suffering of higher realm. So for example, for human, we have suffering of being, being born, birth suffering and aging and sickness and all this, and then suffering of privation. So for this, we have to practice the medium person's practice, and then from the medium person's practice, then we are mainly thinking how in this samsara where we born, there's lots of suffering, and then those suffering, if we have a true intuition and the intuition of trying to maybe how to say sympathy to ourselves, strong sympathy to ourselves to free from the suffering, then we will expand this thought to our near one. And after expanding this to near one and then getting them, how can I free those from other this suffering? Then you expand it to the other people, neutral people, and after we expand this neutral people, we can expand it in this, then other, then it become a actual causes of generating the bodhicitta mind. When we have the strong great compassion and loving kindness, then it will produce the protect of enlightenment. So this is the Rinpoche said. Oh, yella, that just yella sunda.
Yeah.
Yella sing it.
Go to. I想出个三个，他朋友个同意个上的小娃了，你小不穷这个上班我懂得过啊。台上嘛在想出个三个个装备高了那样，我到小不穷我当这个土木业老里头从我都能来都是过啊。大多台上嘛在他当那个想出个三钢笔高了呀，等你这错啥吧，他这边上等你去过，等你这错啥这想出个三钢笔的高去个错啥这上个他。他推荐吧，推荐一个当推厂里了，推厂给搞了，他伊那样，他小不从这个推木有去过的，个人是带送过的，但是主办的，第一年都是让人钱嘛，第一年都第二级高级小组的话当，第二三的小不从我当，小不这个高级，小着话当，连着上班老师给管的，啥样给我多么了，没办呢，上去就三千，碰着局长头原来对吧，想着到这吧，那说。其实是对的，大家才的是个特殊关系。我的小不从这个个人对比，听每一个两个人把得说上去个才刚比个听唱个过来呀，那做啥这样的，那他我这样的蛮的其实也是的的，我哪里就听到听唱你个个个个也是我的送过来，等你短暂听不的。 但这是中国当地的去呢，去过呢，那没比想出去三些年了，都走路呢，那没这来把大这是，但当到跟地告诉小不中国当土木也老的，小不知道土木个出国得做，那没比个想出去三人不去些年了，头上第七些走路得做，你工的也许不能一的，你让个那没讲，你他妈的来把大这个的是。但是他们得出人那样，你听着话的，得了年不些，但对我那人家稍稍个生个地里呀，你年轻就做不的是，但是年轻不做菜一件，兄弟几，得到真不些呢是中多，但想出个菜刚比那个来呀，就说是听唱，各地人那样，得到真过来是，但哪来的中国很多个真不些呢？想出去。产线比严了，让很多简单是。那小不中国的土木一郎，小不这土木郎得做，上出个产刚被严了了呀，你很多简单是，还讲个技巧不来是。这代表个技巧很多技巧啊，就严把它过呢，你哪里这个嘛都得到马些拿是。小不前边浪当，浪说说话，人民都就现实。但小不前边个浪上的老书记子，小不人当土木一浪的，小不人的浪，当小不穷浪的是，浪说一下呢，人民这把一呢，人民强的人民都就小不前边浪了，马来巴到上去就成了，年把干也没那边说，我到底小不前边个浪了，马来给巴了呀。上出个山来呀，那年轻只要用土把的是，上出个山给拖来呀，然后距离呀，去拿出去用土嘛的是，刚要没那个山的些减少，然后呢，第一把都吃不了两年是，我到这里，几小不这当小不穷有给吃过的时候，他把钱币给扛上的这个，那时候像马这个上真的对吧？你呢，你上出个山来呀，你去穿上穿呀不去嘛的是。yang shang shu ge san xi ge chang de ge是xi me tuo chang de ge是 yang na de ba do dun chang ba le yang ne是 ro yin de la ne de xiao wo ni shang shu san ba shang shu ge san wo ne de ya bu ji xi me tuo chen de ni ge cha de o den de yin de ni ge di xiao bu chung zhe ge lo ri nang le rin ba de so xiao bu chen bi ge lang ge zuo shang shu ge san gang ba le ya nian ba de nian wa ko di tao听到听上各地人那样，鸟话夸人吧的，他人把哈夸起来，刚拿来也不接受，我是对的了，年代上我是说，我对起
那
这，
时候给了，那时候，俺给了，那时候给了，真正主办的说讲过的所以嘛给了，
啊，
你等于你得给
这
了，
主办在这里，
真正
但
主办的抽象的抽象，真
上述个
正主
才刚比高了，
主办
错啥地
的抽象
方对的了，
所以嘛给了，
错啥把的这个讲，
嗯
哦，
真正准备这个的人要不就可能是，
明白的，
真正准备的，
哦，他等全部来嘛，等全部的上述个才让距离也小了。但讲不上去个山的上
那是那是，
去了呀，小鱼啊去了，那你小不穷这个老得做老书记这里两来嘛就把那但讲不上去个山上去了些土嘛，人是个等到的，
那是那是，
嗯，
等到第二的那给了，那是
这是等不着你，
那是那是那，嗯。So the sixth one, so that actual change, actual the practice of actual Buddha. Can you hear?
A bit here and there.
Please, can you hear?
Oh, now better.
Okay, okay. I mean, okay. So, so that's very like so practicing bodhicitta mind. So for this to generate in terms of generating this bodhicitta mind, it's so important to accumulate the merit, and also every day have to practice to purify the negative karma we have done. So that's why we have to do like a 7 Olympic prayer every day, and also take refuge, and also like purifying all the negative deed. And at the same time, we have to accumulate the merit for this in terms of generating the bodhicitta mind and cultivating the bodhicitta mind. And for the seventh one is
Yeah, I'm sure it's gonna.
so gela good gela so for the seventh one is mainly is talking that so that great bodhicitta mind. So if someone think that to generating the bodhicitta mind, but if they find the lead person's practice and medium person's practice in kind of separate, if they're trying to make it like totally like unrelated and separate, then it's a really big mistake. So in terms of generating bodhicitta mind, we it's very important to practice the least person's practice and medium person's practice, and also like listening to the teaching of the medium person's practice and great person's practice. So if someone think, like I'm a higher
young gas.
Anila cannot hear you. We cannot hear you. Anila cannot hear you.
Or temperature. Yeah. Hello.
Hello, Anila.
Hello.
Yeah.
Repeat.
Can't hear you.
So can you hear now?
Now can. Hello.
Can you repeat the
Yes.
last one?
Yes. Repeat, please.
So the seventh one is that kind of that great bodhicitta mind. In terms of generating the bodhicitta mind, we should have to practice the medium person's practice and least person's practice. So if someone think this medium person's practice and least person's practice is totally separate from the great person's practice, so it's the wrong view. So in terms of generating the bodhicitta mind, we should practice the least person's practice and medium person's included is a it's kind of inseparable, in terms of getting and generating and cultivating bodhicitta mind. Let's read it.
Ta tini tuanse Japan rabo de ta shangchu ke san le ya mhensen tam ju se ni ta mhensen tam ju se ni te zo korin tang ten le ma lo shang chu o ta te zo shin ba yin to song na res te ta chung ji ke lang shang ba tang se she bu chung mo da jin ke lang ri ki na ne shang lo ma shang teni te je le chen bi ko su ke ba ta se she bu chen bi ki ko su ke ba nang yi chin o ta jene me nga dun ta da ge nyong ji ko lo le para jane teni shangchu ke san rambo chale ya choma ma ba jula shangchu ji san rambo chende choma ma ba ne ramju le ya sha atu mo to ta shu lo che she sha shangchu ji san rambo che choma ma ba chi she cha yi je le teni san de tamba sha yi she to changchu tu mo ma ba ho to tang ne pen bi choga sha o ta teni san ta cha chen sa du zong go san ta cha chen 거긴 도와.
그것도 일어나.
근데 가버려서 뭐 먹으려지. 얘네 세대 땜바셔 있어도 정도 규모 많이 봐. 그것도 당연해서 다 정도 종시 되네. 다 나라주 뒤주 회사 당자 죄송해요. 다 회사 당자 죄송. 회사 쳐가지고. 얘네 회사 쳐가 zon사 있잖아. 회사 쳐가 회사 쳐게 zon이 뒤 하자라. 레벨 하서 다 회사게 다양 다 하자 때려야 주인의 지역에 마셔 셔부 챙기 가지고 어떤 회사게 어저께 졸이야 매체체 가르치게 가비치게 조바다 나치게 방세 된다서 되더라 대리 세지 셔가 시루도 되게라서 로바디 본데 마도 잘라서 대리 회사 당제 지송 차이제 이 상추 지생비기 셔가 하신 조당 아니 두이 뭐고 예라 소발라 아니 hom되게 로디장 그래서 로 양니 양도장 로 양니 양도장 로 마도장 이제 이 타바니 예소 파시 쪽에 나올래야 hom되 네마치 장줄에 쇼송바이나 아니 주비 동바 나와서 아니 상주 생비게 동바 상도라 동바 넘바 타바기 에발라스 어떤 상주 동바라 어때 Teni shangchu senpe domba lang tsai je le shangchu senpe dombi ke sonja tere ya tsatung cheb je tang nije ki chu hi ru yo ra ta te tso ngara tso shangchu shangsi tsuchin lewo ne inzhong wa de tsuchin lewo nang xe ne te tso hi sabu ya ne je nam je song o ta te tabi tsatung cheb je tang nije hi ru ke tsatung ke ma gyo pa so do sha ki yin se ta shangchu senpe ke tsatung cheb je tsatung chi cha ma gyo pa so da tu na yang 자동게 마교가 제거해서 소대샤 야 사파 총리 당사때 다들 사파 총고 당지 당사 때려야 근지 해야 근지 해나 근지 송장당 니장 텐데 총게 돼서 사파 총고 다 사파 지라 어때 다 나오게 니제 개주 기루 나오지자 아니 소소래 마교가 제거해서 단도 되나 상추 세비게 도마랑 차이제 자동 조제다 니제 기루 어디 bombo지 어때서 야고 송이에 송 계시 자동다다 내제다다 bombo다 송송의 집도 겨나요 또한 시주 샤는지 시주 제다 수비 권에 레바장 다 시주 제주 다 단다 초가요 초기 권에 아자 어다 가정 지가버지 그래서 되는 신도 실라 흡지에서 예수 파신게 나오는 실이야로 진바통 다 대초 마쇼 저 실을 흡지 되기라
So the eighth one is no,
대치 자이야
no, teaching Georgia. So 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 after we after we so now that for the bodhicitta mind we have two categories. So one is so two category. One is aspirational spirit of enlightenment and engaging spirit of enlightenment. So after seeing the benefit of the bodhicitta mind and gaining the loving kindness and compassion towards all mother sentient beings, then we have to take the aspirational spirit of enlightenment through right and after the spirit of enlightenment through right after then we have there's a two practice of abandoning for negativity and also to try to gain the to practice the for white activity. So after then so we have to and also for this causes also there's cause of the what in Tibetan called the 6 courses and the actual the bodhicitta mind. So to have to practice those very carefully. And after then, we enter the getting the an engaged spirit of enlightenment. So for the engaged spirit of enlightenment, also we take this from right with the ritual and then make the commitment to took the engaging spirit of enlightenment. After then you have to practice the 6 perfection and practice of collecting or gathering the disciples. So all this, practice carefully, and especially, when we took the precept of engaging spirit of enlightenment, so we have the root infraction and the 18 root infraction, and also 46 contamination. So be very careful to be not soiled by those contamination, and if in case if we soiled by those contamination and also the root infraction, at the same time be very aware and be very well and purify those immediately through confessing your guru, and also doing prostration and mantra, and to purify those immediately, and then continually try to practice and try to practice. So this is mainly talking at the how to keep this the precious bodhicitta mind very present. How to keep this presence, how this so important to keep this present. So for this, with constantly praying and also remembering, and also you were very aware, to not to be soiled by those contamination and also the root infection. That's what you like to know.
Tene, ta shangju tsembe ke domba lam, ta tsatung choje nije hidu la soba tetsu magyo ache. Tene, te jele, ni jesu shela thabure se jimba tongwa tangni tsuchi tongwa zoba tsuchi tongwa ta ti wal tongere te. Shaba to se ge imi bala chetan doba kyo tongwa shayi shes. Ta mi se ni hene tang hatong o nangle chegere se hene dhugde son tene. Ta se ge imi bala chetan doba to kyo tongwa shayi shir hene chimo sante la leba logo se ta nga rotso masho langri hatong chema no ta hene dhulu dhutong dan zangling di tole hene dhulu dhutong ke koge ta jung jajung ta jani ma kase o chene ma nawa kori ma chuba chela meba de ta langri hatong chema no ge penche meba do ro ta dili ma sho o no ye chi hene chimo sante la logo le se leba lo langdren le ngue he shi bi shi ko hene she ba so ba chamba zang le se ngue he chamba ge cha de hene sa de pe chang zang ma to ngue he chambi ge cha de ma ri chamba go yen to cho ni ji ha tong shi bi shi de song de go yen le cho ji ge go le ngue he shi bi shi de hene zu se go le ha tong shi bi shi de ni ngue he zu se song ma ngue he ma hene zu se song song de zo ti shi de hene zu se zo de ta to ni to de ha tong shi shi de hene zu re so ti shi de hene zu ta chi hene zu 다 얘네 루찬이 감책을선 다 가자 그 다음에 또 최지 다음에니 다 공부해서 다니 손집이 치와지 비셔도 다음에 봐 동반이지 돼 다에 타쳐봐 하셔라 bonjour 마노 하셔 싫어지 뭐 하도 줘봐셔 오스 다시 다음에 얘네 랑줄에 마시 비편에 최지 다음에 다 가자 그 다음에 돌을 상동고 다 돼요 다지 얘네 다 다음에 봐 돼서 다음에 또 비글로 런줄에 셰나야 유림부 셰 두고요 말이야. 하나 또 셰네요 말아. 대인데 다음에 강강 다음에 또 비글로 셰 추지 다음에 강사가 다음에 로시 대다 비글로 때 파쇼 네모기 네모 마마 좋아래야. 대니 다음에 비글로 때 셰네다 나도 좋고. 대도 이도 셰네주 셰네 런줄에 셰 투소나 대니 셰네게 마네 다 다음에 또 투바이나 तेने दामे तो बेको दे ता युरिंबो उचिने राजुले गांथु वरेस ते गांथु सोबाय ना तेनी फाशो के न्योमो के नेमो ओमा ते दोबु वरेस तेने इचा दानी सोजे बिचिवा ची बिचे दामे बा तोंबा निची ते ने ताये 타초 बशला से ता ते दामे बारे से चिजा माई बाचे ता दामे ने ते ता गोले या हाथों चमले या ता गाजा मजिने ता 가르쳐 가자 쳐쳐와 가봐 가자 쳐초와 가봐 세테르 가비 토네 라루 페데 나와 잡이게 따와 마노 타쳐바치네 이치바치 대치비게 토네 대텔레 베네 아니 강구리에서 고추 마노 와잖아 고 마노 와지 만화 샤데 이 키로치 오 파톤 주가서 돈이 또 비게 파톤 아니 주쇼서 달래 제쇼서 어때서
Kilo de tonse kubadre jela.
벤세 제바르데
Kebare ale keba tanda keba mujin rotera. Naso. So it's a continuing of the eighth point, and uh, after after gaining the engaging spirit of enlightenment. So from this we have to practice the perspection and suspension. So from there, we have to practice the real, practice of generosity and practice of ethic and practice of patience. For this, in terms of gaining the true and nature, the suchness of the practice, we have to have like serenity, the shamatha and right view, the samatha and to stabilize your mind on the actual practice. So for this, we need like really the key two factor is the serenity or like shamatha and the right view or like right wisdom. So for this, the Atisha, Shantideva and Atisha also, the Atisha mainly saying, so we try to practice the serenity or the shamatha from gain the observation, so the observation, so not observations, and some people says it's only for gaining the contemplative observation, but the many great scholars says is not only of gaining the contemplative observation, but also it's very important to we need to understanding the right wisdom and the right view. So for this, try to get like a serenity. So for the in terms of like the practicing, the serenity, that is the best, like labeling and meaning and how to practice the serenity, the best resource or best information we can from the Lam Rim wisdom chapter of the Lam Rim. So that's the best resource in the wisdom part of the Lam Rim. And also, like after then, you get the serenity, so you can stabilize your mind, whatever the focal object, and from then we will meditate on selflessness and emptiness. So selfless and emptiness, and to find the right wisdom. So when the practice of like selfless and the emptiness also too much requirement, too much requirement of serenity or like a shamatha. So after gaining this serenity and shamatha, serenity and wisdom, and so like great wisdom, I can say like great wisdom. So this is the from this, this the kind of like very background or very background. Then we practice the rest of the like perfection. So perfection. So the serenity is the part of the practice of the contemplation. That's all, Yala.
yes 다 전체 고바드 카레레서 다 상주 랑리는 토마 제셔부 중고 초고 셔분 증기 초고 셔부 진비기 초고 어다 용소 조바데 주 뒤바이나니 하바송게 나는 주 요레서 다 뜻성 거 저부 책인데 카 대타나 예네다 하부 그룹아 마토피 조동지 하자라 거가 매체네 수준지 나바레스 다 하바송 뒤도 카레레서나 다 얘네 당 하토 주바니 바삐야지 얘네 당 하토 주바 마토비데 아니 상주 세비게 조동게 상주 세비 조동사다 다 주세라 주세게 주세다 조동지 허자다 내가 여기게 셔부 총고 초고다 셔부 저기 초고 매체되니 수준지 하바다 수준지 하바는 되게레스 되니 얘네데 아니 땡이지 봐봐 매체니 수준지 하바다 얘네네 땡이지나 세지 하바는 되게레서 얘네데 땡이지 하바지 하바로 매체 순제도 땡 하토니 헤로지 하바 랑든 제발의 소소스 하토데니 헤로지 하바 임바테 조지 라니 긴제피 상주 랑드게 랑들의 송샤스 어따테서 너 뒤나 나라서 상지 송래야 초풍 제체 개통 열때 초풍 제체 개통 때 수dü나 까 되는 손어 되는 손그 저자때 아다 나네 당체 하바송 근데 이 하바송 뒤에 인상 단다 건데 나리게 저자 당체 하바송은 뒤비기 어리바 손레스
So in the ninth, so now we are in the ninth. So in the ninth is mainly talking. So this practice of six perfection and practicing for that for practice of for to gathering the disciple and all others like practice is a including to three training. Three training. So the three training is the morality and concentration and wisdom. So among the six perfections for the from the six perfections, the first five is the part of the practice of morality, and then the fifth one is the practice of contemplation, and then the sixth one, the wisdom, the right wisdom is usually the great wisdom. We call great wisdom. It's the practice of wisdom, and then so all the practice is like including in these three practice, and also from that we Tibetan call is lepasum, but it's three training, the three training of mind, and then all the Buddhist scripture is compound or include in three basket, three basket, and then all these three basket is also according to this three trainings of training of morality and training of contemplation and training of wisdom. That's
다 전체 주바데 간데레잖아 다 샤보선 송가 랑가 림발이야 다 이와 뭐부 주요레데 다 추드바이나 다 랑용수 도바데 아니 초니네 뒤그레서 공도 하바송 뒤바 송바 당기 지 아니 초니수 뒤그레서 데 뒤도 간데레잖아 다 데르마 송고 예야 제네 매체 터지 차당 소나지 초당 교조 대발라 데비 랑다 자치 랑지 림바 일라스 어다 디스온데 제네 매체지 타우 용수 줘바데 소나고 초레스 내가 나기 교조 대발라 데비 랑당 송용데 상주게 산당 다 대제 전부다 아니 마셰다 진제다 제조 나서바데서 자치 랑지 림바 탕제데 소나고 초디바레스 히로 차바지 송샤바네스 히로지 차당서 다 히로 차바지 송사데 히로 차바체데 어다 단다게 다 교조 히비 히로 도도 히비 히로사 데리요레 데트 초데니 소나고 히로지 차리에스 데 이히 초리스 너 되나 히로지 도니스 네바 용수 도바데 아니 소나 이히 초리자 히로 차바 송샤바니 히로지 차당 이히 초당서 어때 이히 초 당당비 담발라 담바당서 대소니 담바니 제나네 당당부 쇼리 담발리 템비기 쇼부 추리스 당다 담바다 사미라지 림바 이베스 때 당게 사미게 너 너드네 자치 나오지 림바다 사미랑고 림바 니도아 어다 대소 사미랑고 림바 대다게 코리타 장야바다 토케 야지 상추 민주발라 네바 첨부샤바 샤오서 다 대소 대다게 코리타스 자치 랑고 림바 아니 사미 랑고 림바 대소 아니 장년바 어다 코리 네바 체게 마도 코리 투와타 장치하나 요바 어데르게 너드네 토치 토마사와 양 토라 히라 마사와 어다 데르체 토히 토도 히라니 야진 로송바이나 데니 상주기 라메 토자 타투바 라메 상주 루투 마르 토투 마레스 데르 문주바 이바테 나랑 저기 덜 근데 이바 나오게데 나랑 저기 생게 토리야 아니 데르 천원 제투와지 네바 첨부셔바 샤오스 데솔로 로잔데 토히 야제 토히 차 마사와 토히 고리 투바 오 데르게 토네 라메 상주 문주바데 랑 강사 랑로 소수게 토네 다 녜셰셰사난다 강사 소수게 로기 토네야 덴르 렌도 아상서게 지 천하 첨부지 시아투부투 다쇼스 네바 첨부셔바 샤오스 대답이 주지 상지지 사 여대지 자체 처범도에 다 대답이 취지에서 다 거리 만나와 좀 찰라면봐 어다 토시 야마저와 토시 손도지 취지 아니 상제지 사서 다 때가서 도자 다도 내지 상제 사도 도자 다도지 여태지 자체 처분으로 해서 상제가 사도 또 나라서 자초 파칼이야 노비기 닌다고 되자 여태지 자체 처분 될은 이게 그렇게데 아니 나라서 제세 상추 삼바데 소지시 태바 팀비 나와서 최 나와서 랑케 제세 다 대답이 제세 때 샹엄비 계속소게 엄비 제부 때네스 어다 자주 챔비게 파칼이야 근데 라메 조정게 사샤디샤 아니 텔리안 로켓에 제세 상추 삼바자 때 엄비 계속소게 상제게 사데 자주 소수 자주 파칼 계속소게 상추 삼바데 샹엄비 제부 계속 자차와 토지 차 마찬 메바데 교조지 데미 쇼바스 다 데이터비 상엄바데 장초 파칼 장초 판디와라 쇼바니 교아 나오게 마찬 메비 교조지 데미 쇼바타 테 사모토바니 다 자치 사모테 코나니세 다 사미게 랑고진바 테 코나니 다메바 데바토비 데토비 담발라티 쇼바니 제너로 시제세 자치 랑저리 쇼바타 대권 아니 섬미게 랑게 짐비게 쇼바니 토네는 로구레스 샤쿠 쇼차다스 샤 쇼바 차찬주 지 탕탕 야라 지 탕탕 메바 데리 샤지 인바 옛날 샤데게 장철 판데는 장철 파간 로투는 도아스 샤 쇼차다 왕지 차키 쇼레 존 오늘 로아 메제텐 된 로바이는 로투 마레스 대 안에 뺀데 나와 자레 오만 주발레 오말란 주발레 교조티니 쇼용 가부 제조바 원비 제부티니 시위 마바이 뉘토다니 게일롱 쇼도 제유의 자체 파리 초도 노 해송바 따로 서다테 단다 제부 제마 송바테 오만 주비게 롱테게 단다레 교조 쇼바 단담 쇼바니 쇼바송 쇼바니 라테니 자체 파갈 조고바 나오게 아니 나로서 타바치비 간자테서 아니 자치 랑지 림바다 섬에 랑거 림바 니 나서만 비토니 아니 상지게 살이야 로그레 사와타티소
That's right. Yeah. So ninth so right now in the tenth as we talk in the ninth, all these practice is including or combined in three training. So same as well, all the accumulation. So that when it's the coming to the accumulations, all the accumulation also like combined in two categories. So two categories, the accumulation of the wisdom and accumulation of the conventional, like merit, the conventional merit. So for this, from the sixth perfection is the first five. The any accumulations we created from first five is including in the conventional accumulation, and the last two. The last two is the accumulation or the collection of wisdom, and all this. So this is so when the Buddhist teaching is there's a true truth, the truth of conventional truth and ultimate truth, or like truth of emptiness. So for this truth and emptiness, so even when we practice, there's like a the vast or the great way of practice, this including the bodhicitta mind, and also the wisdom practice is is a great practice, is the more like so from the sixth perfection is the first five is the great practice, and then the last two is the wisdom practice. So this too is in terms of generating, and any other all practice when we get is like expanding. This too is the main like two key, supporting to each other. For example, if so the bodhisattva is so there's like analogy that to give that the bodhisattva is like geese, and then the ocean is so so there's like a sky is like our samsara and our ocean, and then in terms of these geese, go to the other side of the ocean, of the other side of the ocean, it should need like two wings, same as a bodhisattva or any practitioner who or he, like she or he or she, if she wanted to, the other side of the ocean or other side of the whatever other side of the ocean or like other side of the sky, we should need like two practice of conventional practice, like kind of generated like compassion and generated compassion and loving kindness and like from the sixth perfection, the first five, one wing, and then the second wing is the like a serenity and the wisdom, the collection of wisdom. So this is the other wing. So if some, any practitioner like Bodhicitta and Bodhisattva and Great Master, we should need these two practice as a wing, as a keys to, in terms of getting other side, they should need two wings. So this is also Chandrakit is like a commentary on the middle way. It list here the spreading the broad wide wings of the reality and conventionality. And the royal geese is quoted by the flock of the living beings, fly on the winds of the virtue to come to supremacy on the far shore of the Buddha's ocean like a quality. So that's why, like any practitioners, you have to do this like to practice, and then especially about the wisdom practice, like wisdom practice is the main key to abandon all the negativity, all the mental affliction. So when you think that when you have a good practice of the wisdom, when you gain the path of seeing, then you can you can abandon all the like mental affliction, all the disturbances of their practice. That's all,
다 추체 신이 있어서
Yella chuzi yun sare.
아
Laon.
다시
Chuba di chazon yella.
초바데 추치바데 초바 차스
That's all, yella.
고체
So,
개체
no, yeah. So we have done the 10th one. So can we stop here?
Okay, I'll do the dedication first, then Geshe-la can do the dedication itself, then we can wrap it up. Okay.
Okay, that's all. Kunzu dambo di chigin sa yella.
Okay, prayer after teachings. This ground is anointed with perfume strewn with flowers, Mount Meru, the four continents, sun and moon, visualizing as a Buddha view. Offer it so all means and may join this pure and Idam Guru Ratna Mahamiyatayam. In the snowy mountain paradise, you are the source of good and happiness, powerful tending your social lazy, may you stay until samsara ends. Praying for teachers' perfect health, praying for teachers' sacred life, praying their works of good and spend. Bless me never apart from them. Do this merit, may I soon attain the highest state Guru Buddha, so that I may be able to bring all living beings to this very enlightened state. May the precious Buddhi mind not yet born arise slow. May that born have no decline but increase forevermore. Just as the Blessed Buddha the past is dedicated, just as Blessed Buddha present is dedicating, just as Blessed Buddha future dedicate, also humbly learn, follow, and dedicate likewise. Regions where the supreme precious Dharma has not spread or has spread but then declined, may I eliminate that treasure of happiness and benefit with your mind deeply moved by great compassion. Many who merely sees, hears, remember, touches or talks to me, we feel in that very instant from all suffering and abide in happiness forever. For as long as space endures and for as long as living beings remain, until then may I too abide to dispel the misery of the world. May I be a protector of those without one, a guide for all travelers on the way. May I be a bridge, a boat, and a ship for all those who wish to cross the waters. O venerable compassionate Guru, we see your blessings that all coming death, obstacle, and suffering of one second days. May without exception reference upon us right now. May give our happiness and virtue to others, and thereby invest all beings in bliss. Okay, Nila, over to Geshe-la.
다게 제네서 베겨완데 단동로와 그나는 차바지서 로고 대베뉴버렌도 제제쇼 사게 베제쇼게만도 다도 되겠는데 언제겠도 미데로 예베나다 kinso 남거로 맨들라게 니야 다이 네, 거래라에 그 맞아 편하다고 말이 시래서 저에서도 봐도 된주지 파마센제 당제 대단데 남도 당제 다다 장주 삼바도 수요 대다가 전화로 주주지 장주 세조 좀 맞아 봤다 셰베 남바면 오늘반도 배워줘 대나지들로 그게 좀 맞은도 이들이 말이다다 다게 되게 잖아 저게 되다다 맞지 대나지들로 그게 좀 맞은도 이들이 말이다다 다게 되죠 저게 되다다 맞지 대나지들로 맞은도 이들이 말이다다 다게 되게 잖아 저게 되다다 엔젤로 담발라마메 비타바나 교환되나 라미티 교환되어 걔네 방번지 조로 어이야